Full-time Bournemouth 3, Tottenham 2. Stay tuned to the very end. I'll be giving my thoughts, honest thoughts, balanced thoughts on that game. 5 goals at the Vitality. Bournemouth ending their run before that of 11 winless. Where did Tottenham go from here in terms of Thomas Frank, in terms of January window? Lots to discuss. I'm, as always, trying to bear in mind all the perspectives, but also give you my honest opinion and not just say what is popular. So make sure you do stay tuned. A bruising defeat for Tottenham, another one.
Came along, just like a song. And brighten my day. Who'd have believed that you were part of the dream? Now it all seems like years away. You know I can't smile without you. I can't smile without you. I can't laugh, I can't sing. I'm finding it hard to do anything, and I feel sad when you're sad. I feel glad when you're glad. If you only knew what I'm going through, I just can't smile without you.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe. So ultimately is another defeat for Tottenham Hotspur. Bournemouth moving now just a point within us. So, it's extremely frustrating, and it felt really fitting for Semenya to get that winning goal. 95th minute, and what appears to be his last game for Bournemouth as he joins Man City. We've got the "Here we go" from Italian journalist Fabrizio Romano. So incredibly frustrating. I thought for large parts, I thought our performance was good. The best we've seen for the majority, if not all, of the season, if I'm being honest with you. I think Bournemouth always looked dangerous. Dangerous on the counter-attack too. I think we're unlucky to go into the break 2-1 down. I think we're unlucky to lose the game after all. And, Bournemouth, credit to them and ending that winless run. Crazy that they were unbeaten in 11 because, spirited performances against Chelsea and Arsenal deserved more. They deserve to at least get a draw against Arsenal. They deserve to, in my view, beat Chelsea. It's just the way football works sometimes. And Bournemouth look good in this game, clearly up for that. Wanting to improve their form. And they will leave question marks around Thomas Frank's future. So I'll give my thoughts on this game as a whole, dive into some player ratings and talk Thomas Frank's. Bear with me. And also please to give your thoughts. So in terms of all the goals, there's a lot of action. Matthias Tell really nicely taken goal. Then for Bournemouth, both goals for Tottenham is poor to concede, in my view. When I say both goals, I know there's 3, but both in that first half. It's 2 balls into the box. And I think, again, we're not doing the basics right now as a football club on the pitch. We're not marking. Is that clear lapse in concentration or lack of concentration? And that goes hand in hand with the marking, like who's picking up who. Some will say it comes down to manager responsibilities, who's got who. I'd say it's just down to lack of concentration, poor marking, and also away from the goals, just really poor at times in possession. Not all the time, but we give the ball away too easy, too cheaply. It's just something Tottenham managers have been saying for an awfully long time. Pelini, an amazing second goal, acrobatic. That deserved, to be the equaliser, the goal that got Tottenham the point. Not meant to be. Anton Semenya, arguably, with an equally as good goal and a hugely significant goal, certainly more important goal in the game. And again, just felt so fitting with him saying goodbye. He was always going to have an impact on the game. It's a matter of when rather than if, unfortunately. But let's move into some Spurs player ratings. Always difficult after a game like this. Vicario will give a 6. Probably be a little bit lower. I think that third goal's great by Semenya. Can he do more? I haven't seen it back, but should it be going in from that far out is another question on its own. Porro, I think some of his shoot was poor. I don't think it was his best game. I'll give him a 4. Van der Ven, I give a 4. I love that solo run, by the way, but it's right to overturn it by VAR. So Van der Ven, if people didn't see it, was initially given a penalty, and what looked like the penalty to start with, but you see it back, and it is. Don't even know what to say. It's a dive, but it's not a foul. Put it that way. It's not a foul. There's not enough in it. I know why he's gone down, and I know how it looks, and it's frustrating, of course, but I think ultimately it's the right decision, hand on heart. If we're being totally honest, although it hurts, it's not what we want to hear, but sometimes it is the truth that needs to be said for sure. But Van der Ven done really well to have that kind of solo move and walk through everyone, and Bournemouth were clearly concerned. I think they actually probably did try, not necessarily foul him, but they did try and be aggressive, but they were fair in doing so. Romero, I think sometimes really poor, lapse in concentration. Generally, I give him a 4. Spencer, give a 4. Just a lot of passes from him going out astray. You're going out of play as well. I think, frustrating. And he done okay. Good to see him back in the side. Paulinho, I'll give a 7. I think he made a huge difference. 7 isn't just for the goal, by the way. I already had him down as a 6 before he scored that goal. For me, he impressed me in terms of I thought he'd come in for Archie Gray. Fans were doing critical, seeing Ben score and Paulinho in midfield going, we don't win with them too. We never get a result with them too. Or it's too defensive, it's too this, it's too that. But Archie Gray asked him to start 3 games in a row and asked him to play several games in the last 8. At his age, I think his minutes should be managed. Plus, Paulinho brings a little bit more maybe in a game like this. It just felt right to rotate around this kind of festive period going in as we are in a new year. Bentancur, that was okay at times, sometimes gave up possession too easily. I give him a 5, again being better recently in recent weeks. Simmons, really good assist for the tail goal. Apart from that, quite quiet. But I love his press and intensity. Just think he lacks quality and maybe a tiny bit of confidence. I'll give him a 6. But when I say he lacks confidence, like with Bergvall, they're always too keen to impress. Sometimes they give away fouls or just press and get caught out of position. And Bergvall will give a 7. Again, coming off for injury. Hopefully he is okay. Tell will give a 7. Thought he looked really good. Some of the set pieces he took were great. Corners, free kicks, and he was everywhere. Tell looking to make things happen. Of course, got the opening goal. Real shining light right now at Spurs, and it's really difficult to find positives. Colomwani, unfortunately, I think he terminated his loan, and I am going to give him a 5 again to be kind because they're giving him. I've given him that high of a number because I just think that, all our creative players are injured. There's no creativity or attacking quality at all in this Spurs team. So he's not been given any service, any times of creativity, nothing to feed, nothing at all for Colin One. He's all having to be generated by himself. I think he's slow. He's not very mobile. I just don't think he's the right player to sign permanently. And in fact, I would terminate that loan now. And, I think Richarlison offers a lot more and we'll get onto him, but he come on, huge difference. Odegaard, give a 5. I think he come on, look good, look bright. Didn't see too much from him though. But what he did do was positive. Richarlison was the one who made the difference to me. Just winning everything, hit the post within a couple of minutes, I think, of coming on. And that didn't slow down as well. Always looking to make things happen. I think he had that vocal point, that physical presence, and he does worry defenders. I know he annoys people, and we joke around Richarlison as Spurs fans, as football fans, but he's a dangerous player. Whether he's a world class player or not, I don't think so. But he does cause problems. He gives you something to think about. And then Archie Gray, I'd say non-applicable. We didn't really get to see him for long enough, in my view. Just my opinion. But those are my Spurs player ratings given the team there, but also the substitutes as well as the starting 11. Thank you very much for that. And then with Thomas Frank, I am still behind him. I get why people aren't, and I do think hand on heart, unfortunately, is a dead man walking. I made a prediction on my podcast, the Scarfey Spurs Talk Podcast, on Monday that we'd lose to Bournemouth and lose to Aston Villa. It'd be Sunday morning. It's not what I want. I don't think it's good for the club in terms of going through another manager and being trigger happy. But I do think hand on heart, yeah, that's it. That's what will happen. I mean, people say, look, we've got nothing to get behind. I get that. I think I'm basing it a lot on what Thomas Frank's done in his previous career. But the context, I'm behind every manager until the end. It's not necessarily a Thomas Frank thing. I was behind Ange, I think anyway, right until the very end. And apart from Stellini, maybe Mason, I was behind most managers till the end. I just don't think going through another manager, another project, different ideas, I just don't think it's necessary. I think we are trigger happy as a fan base. And I think, sacking managers, appointing managers like you wouldn't believe, quicker than the weather changes, in this country, is what we've been doing. I think that's the reason, main reason why we've gone backwards since the 2019 Champions League final, if I was to be honest with you. I think, honestly, it's gone backwards in there. So it's greedy, entitled as well after winning in Bilbao and after getting to the Champions League final. We have this expectation, puts pressure on the managers. And because we won the Europa League last year, which is a great achievement, wouldn't have it any other way, wouldn't even change it now, of course. But that's, without a shadow of a doubt, that's locked in. What I will say is it has created a problem of expectation on Thomas Frank. But at the same time, it is another defeat. And Frank, I've always say, and with any manager, football's a results-based business, what managers are judged on at the end of the day, and we're not getting the results right now. I thought we played well at times in the game. There were a lot of issues. I think personally, in my view, you give him the January transfer window, you bring in his players. I think you back him for now, and you give him also time for those players to gel. Then you make a decision. I think he has the season for me, but I get at the same time for Tottenham, we can't be what we are now, 14th, 15th place. We have to be in a lot better position in the table. If we go out the FA Cup as well, it's a big reason as well for the club to pull that trigger. I think he's under a little bit of pressure going into that Villa game, if I'm to be honest with you, but I would back him for now. But again, I get that the majority of the fan base probably doesn't feel that way at the moment. But thank you very much for watching. Now, behind Thomas Frank, I think the performance was okay. Of course, there's another defeat, which does matter most. That's just the frustrating thing. And when you don't have the attacking players in terms of quality or depth, it puts pressure on your defence. Then it makes your defence not look very good. Whereas I actually think under Frank, we've been defensively solid. But as my post-match talks, credit to Bournemouth, and Sam Semenya as well, for having that moment. But hugely frustrating. It's another defeat for Spurs. Get involved in the comments below how you feel about this one. But for now, come on, you Spurs. You need to win against Villa. It will be extremely, extremely tough.
Came along just like a song and bright.